Hi, Phyllis Roman from Giamanco Law Partners here with a little legal advice regarding gifts for those in relationships. First, engagement rings. A bit of a disclaimer, the laws on engagement rings and who gets it when and who has to return it to whom vary greatly between states. So make sure, if you are not in Illinois, to be contacting an attorney in your local state. For Illinois, there are still exceptions, but the general rule is prior to becoming married, if a relationship terminates, the individual who gave the ring gets it back, and the person who received the ring has to return it. If the relationship terminates after marriage, then the ring stays with the individual who received it and is considered a gift. It's essentially, you could consider it a promissory contract. It's not really the legal term, but in layman's term, you might consider it a promise to marry. If you don't get married, you don't get to keep the ring. If you do get married, you get to keep the ring. That's kind of how the courts in Illinois have seen it. There are some exceptions, and divorce decrees can often amend that if it's a family heirloom or something of that nature. But the general rule of thumb to consider when you are giving the gift of an engagement ring is that if you end up not getting married, you can get that ring back. Now, getting the ring back can be difficult. It's already a very tenuous time. Emotions are high, and it's very difficult to give it back. However, you could file a lawsuit to obtain the ring back, and many times, depending on the value of that ring, it may be worth it at that point. Other gifts that you may be giving in a relationship, some of the bigger ones. If you are wanting to co-sign for something, so you ask your significant other to co-sign for you, or they ask you to co-sign for them because their credit isn't good enough to get a house, a car, whatever that you might need for a co-signer. In the example of a car, if you co-sign for a car and then you break up with your significant other, you still are responsible for that loan. Even if they had been paying it every single month up until when you broke up, and then they stopped paying that car note, the lender, the bank, the credit union, whoever has the note on the car can absolutely still come after you. I have a lot of calls of people coming and calling and asking what they can do to get a car refinanced. And I'm like, oh, just go to your bank. Well, no, they're refusing to refinance it. Who's the main person? Oh, my ex-boyfriend. Oh, my ex-girlfriend. No bank is going to voluntarily take a potential two people off of a loan and take it down to one, particularly if that person stopped paying. So they already know it's a bad loan, and they're going to have to go after someone, and they're clearly in contact with you, so that person is likely going to be you. So I generally tell people, do not co-sign for loans. If you want to give some sort of generous gift, some larger gift like that, give it in cash payments monthly or in a cash payment. That co-signed loan, you're going to get stuck with it until that loan is paid off, and it might end up trashing your credit. If you give the gift of a car, basically saying it'll be in my name, but you're allowed to use it, right? So you sign the note, you're paying on the note, but you give it to your significant other to drive that car. You break up. That significant other refuses to give it back. How do you get it back? You could go to court and ask for a specific performance to try and obtain the car back, but it's going to cost money. It's going to be difficult because the judges generally don't like to do specific performance. They would rather have monetary damages. And, legal term, specific performance is when the judge is ordering someone to do something. Return a ring, give them a painting back. Something non-monetary damages. Do not do this. A specific performance is something where you say, oh, this contractor ruined my house, I want him to come and fix it. The judge is not going to force the contractor to come and fix it. What the judge is going to do is award you monetary damages to do that. Same thing with the car. You can ask for the judge to make him turn over the car, but a lot of judges are rather going to have monetary damages, which doesn't do you much good. So in general, be very, very careful. I know you're happy and it's a great relationship and this is, wonderful news and you're going to last forever. There are ramifications, and if that legal paperwork is not drawn up, or if you are giving a gift, and you should essentially assume you will not be getting it back ever. And you should assume that you are going to be on the hook for the entire thing in a co-signing situation. If someone wants you to co-sign on a $20,000 loan for a car, assume you will be paying that $20,000. And if you're okay with that, even if you break up, go ahead and co-sign it. But if you don't want to be paying that $20,000 if you break up, don't co-sign that loan. For the car, don't buy them a car in their name, in your name, and then let them use it. Engagement rings, the same thing. Be prepared to return it if you break up prior to the marriage. You don't get to keep the ring and hawk it and pocket the cash. You have to return it. Give it back to the person who gave it to you. It's not going to be enjoyable. Breakups are never fun, but they are going to be much, much worse if there are legal and monetary connections tying the two of you still together. Ask any divorced couple, once that marriage happens, the dissolution of that marriage is extremely difficult and painful because of all of the ties that are tying two together. And if you're in a relationship and not yet married, that will become even more painful, and you're essentially guaranteeing that you'll have continuing ongoing issues if you end up breaking up. And on that happy note, please know that we are always here to help at Giamanco Law Partners if you have legal questions or issues with an ex retaining property. And please feel free to give us a call at 630-635-5555. And as always, good luck out there.